Here are 15 things about Dark Souls that you probably didn't know, and one special bonus surprise that even the most seasoned of fans won't know about. Number 1. In the painted world of Ariamis, did you know that you can bypass much of the area and head straight to Pricsilla? All you need to do is head to the undead dragon waiting on the bridge and defeat it. Once this is done, head towards the end of the bridge where the back half of the undead dragon's body remains. Do a leaping attack by pressing forward and R2, and this will cause the back half of the dragon to stand up. You can then walk through its legs, drop down, and make your way straight to Priscilla's fog gate, skipping out most of this area. Number 2. The painted world of Ariamis is aesthetically very different from the rest of the lands of Lordran, mainly as it's the only snow-covered area in the game. And there's a very good reason for this. The painted world was actually based on a map used in the prototype for Dark Souls, during the early stages of its development. A proof of concept, if you will. In his interview with DesignWorks, Miyazaki stated that, "I really wanted to use it in the full game, but I couldn't find a way to make it fit with the other areas. In the end, I cheated and put it in the painted world." Number 3. When using a shield to block against certain attacks by enemies or bosses such as the Taurus Demon, Iron Golem and Nito, instead of just blocking as normal, your character will do a backwards flip, landing on their feet and skid backwards superhero styley. It appears this is triggered by certain larger enemy attacks and relies on you having a sufficient amount of stamina to tank the attack. I'm still looking into the exact requirements to trigger this animation, so keep an eye out for a future video on it. And with that being said, if anyone has any info on it, then make sure you let me know in the comments section below. Number 4. Did you know that depending on how much damage you deal, you could earn extra souls? That's right, if you kill an enemy by dealing 150% or more of its full HP in one hit, then you will earn 20% more souls for that kill. As you can see from this footage, ordinarily this hollow would give out 60 souls when you kill it, but if I change to a higher damage weapon, then it now gives out 72 souls, an extra 20% on top of its normal amount. While this might not seem a huge amount, over the course of a playthrough, that 20% extra really adds up. Number 5. Praise the Sun may be the most iconic gesture and imagery from the Dark Souls series, but did you know that Miyazaki wanted to use it more heavily in Demon Souls than it actually was? In his interview with DesignWorks, he states, "That pose actually carries some significance for me. During Demon Souls, that was a holy sign. When I presented the game to the rest of the company, I showed them that pose, and one of the higher-ups told me it just wasn't cool enough. Of course, I told him I'd get rid of it, but secretly I kept it in the game. So naturally, with Dark Souls, I was determined to use it." Roll on 2 years later, and during the development of Dark Souls, Miyazaki himself posed the gesture to the artists, so they could get it just how he wanted. I remember I actually acted the pose out so the artist could take pictures. Before we move to the next one, if you are enjoying this video, don't forget to like and subscribe, and ring the bell to make sure you don't miss out on even more Dark Souls content. Number 6. While traversing the gauntlet of swinging blades, narrow walkways and Indiana Jones-style booby traps that is Sens Fortress, it may be easy to miss this very handy and out-of-sight bonfire. In the area at the top of the stairs being bombarded by explosive boulders, all you need to do is drop down from this broken ledge and have a much needed sanctuary before continuing on your way through this fun house of death. Number 7. In addition to all the booby traps dotted around Sens Fortress, are the giant boulders rolling around every corner, ready to squish you without even a moment's notice. Well, if you've had enough of acting out Raiders of the Lost Ark, there is a way you can permanently stop the boulders. And I'm not talking about just turning the boulder contraption either. If you do a leap of faith, you can land on the roof where the enemy giant responsible for dropping said boulders through the roof can be killed. And once eliminated, you can now freely traverse all the nooks and crannies of Sens Fortress without the fear of being mowed down by one of these rolling stones. Do bear in mind though, some areas of Sens Fortress will require a little assistance from the boulders in order to access them. So make sure you've already accessed these areas before you permanently disable them. Number 8. Hidden in the darkness of the catacombs is a secret access to Nito's area, but instead of fighting him, you will be able to join the Gravelord's Servant Covenant. To access this area, you will need to head to the crypt where you find the Titanite Demon. In this same room, you will find a coffin sticking out from the wall a little more than the others are. When you go up to it, you will receive a prompt saying "Nestle in Coffin." Once selected, you will hop in and lie down. If you then wait around 30 seconds, you will receive a shortcut scene and be transported down into Nito's boss arena. However, you will need an Eye of Death for this to trigger, but luckily enough, there are 3 Eye of Deaths located just behind the Titanite Demon at the end of the crypt. Once transported into Nito's area, head over to the other side and talk to Nito, who is lying in his giant coffin. When you join the Gravelord's Servant Covenant, Nito will give you the Gravelord's Sword and the Gravelord's Sword Dance Miracle. Number 9. Ingward, Guardian of the Seal, is the red-robed NPC on the roof of the ghost house in Anor Londo ruins that provides you with the key to the seal, allowing you to drain the water and access the 4 kings. But did you know that after you have defeated the 4 kings, if you return to Ingward, you will then get a unique dialogue? Once you have exhausted this new dialogue, he will then move to Firelink Shrine, where you can more easily access his curse-removing services and the purchasing of his other wares. Number 10. As with most things from movies, TV shows and video games, the name of the product would be decided upon fairly early in the process. Well, not with Dark Souls. In an interview with 4Gamer, Miyazaki explains how what we now know and love as Dark Souls went through several name iterations, even being changed literally 2 days prior to it being revealed at the Tokyo Game Show. Initially, the game was to be called Dark Race, but due to the racist connotations this could have, this was quickly changed to Dark Lord. However, fate wasn't on From Software's side on this one, and they couldn't obtain the trademark for it. The next idea was to name it Dark Ring, and I can only apologise for my country's language here, but this was scrapped due to Dark Ring being slang for anus here in the UK. The game was then revealed at the Tokyo Game Show as Project Dark, but as we all now know, it went on to be officially released as Dark Souls. Number 11. The Dark Souls games are renowned for being some of the hardest games out there, where hand-holding and tutorials are nowhere to be seen. But did you know that right from the get-go in Firelink Shrine, the Crestfallen Warrior will actually give you hints and tips on what you need to do as you progress the game? From which direction to head in order to access the first Bell of Awakening, how to fix your weapon if it's broken, or what to do if you've gone hollow or been cursed. This treasure trove of information that this NPC holds is invaluable, and providing you regularly interact with him as you progress through the game, he will give you insight on what you need to do and friendly reminders of other NPCs you may want to seek out. Number 12. 4 of the shields that you can use in Dark Souls were actually designed by fans in a competition that From Software held prior to the release of the game. The Sanctus, Effigy Shield, Blood Shield and Black Iron Great Shield are all fan-made. The Effigy Shield itself was originally titled the Xenomorph's Aegis, and as you can see, it does really resemble the Xeno from the Alien franchise, and more specifically the artwork that those movies were based on by H.R. Geiger. Number 13. Unlike most other enemies in the game, if you do kill Andre of Astora, his body remains even after resting at a bonfire, or changing locations. This is very possibly due to the fact that he uses a unique model, which would make sense considering he was initially intended to have a much bigger role in the game. In addition to this, Andre is one of a handful of characters in the game that actually has moving lips when they talk. The others are Quelaag's sister, Kingseeker Frampt, Alvina, and Darkstalker Karth. Number 14. Anor Londo is a beautiful contrast to the downtrodden lands of Lordran, and has a theme of duality which runs throughout its design. On entering Anor Londo, you may not have noticed the statues of Ornstein and Smaug that face each other from one end of the entrance to the other. The grand staircase that has both small and large steps to accommodate both human and giant-sized beings. And the large gates and entrances that are clearly for giants, but that also have a smaller entrance within them for humans. Even Ornstein and Smaug's boss room has 2 elevators, one large and one small. Are these dedicated elevators for ONS themselves, or is this another addition to the design, being that of a symbiotic society? Number 15. Players of Dark Souls will be well versed with the amazing chest ahead message, and what, or should I say who, precedes it. But did you know that the design of Guinevere wasn't really Miyazaki's cup of tea? In his interview with Designworks, he said this of the matter. Talking of glamour, her breasts have nothing to do with me. They happened without my knowledge. It's all the artist's fault. I think I mentioned it earlier, but I always seek a certain refinement in all of my designs. The artist had such a happy look on his face, I didn't have the heart to stop him. Special bonus. Did you know that in Anor Londo you can summon Solaire twice in order to gain a Sunlight Medal, for both the Ornstein and Smaug fight, but also for Dark Sun Gwyndolins? Providing you summon him for Gwyndolin first, as his summon sign disappears after defeating ONS, you can then head down the spiral staircase lift in Anor Londo and enter the Gwyndolin boss fight. Unfortunately, Solaire won't be able to join you for the actual fight, or even leave the giant doors at the entrance. But once you defeat Dark Sun Gwyndolin, you will receive a Sunlight Medal. After you have rested at a bonfire, you can then head back upstairs and summon him again prior to entering the ONS fight. And again, once defeated, you will be rewarded with an additional Sunlight Medal. While there are easier and quicker ways to obtain them, it's a handy one for you to do if you're planning on taking out Gwyndolin anyway. And for now, that's it. Let me know in the comment section below how many of these you already knew about and which one surprised you the most. Plus, let me know if you have any obscure Dark Souls knowledge that you would like to see in a future video. Thanks for watching, and as always, don't forget to like and subscribe for more Dark Souls content.